Namaste and welcome to the beginning part of this online workshop titled The Structuring Layers of Ourself, the Structuring Layers of the Self. And this is a workshop that has been designed to help you have much more clarity in your life. We live in a time of confusion, and having clarity is one of the greatest gifts that we can give ourselves. Having the possibility of being present and direct our attention to where we want to go is an enormous gift. And so this workshop has been designed to allow you to have more clarity upon the different things that are going on inside your inner world. This is a time in which all of the structures are collapsing in the external world, but it also happens with our internal world. And the more we can see with clarity what are the operating systems that are happening within our being, so that we can find much more power and peace to live a life that is aligned with our values. And the reason why this is so important is because we live in a time of confusion. We sometimes know or think we want this, but eventually we'll find ourselves doing that. Or we have this enanthodromic nature, as Carl Jung termed the psyche. We go like a pendulum from one side to the other, shifting, and it's difficult to find center. And this is why the art that was chosen for the workshop is the Hilma Klint depiction of these circles within each other, concentric circles within each other, and this beam of light, of golden light that connects to the center. And this is what the workshop is about. Seeing with clarity what are these different circles that structure our being, and with the power of the light of pure awareness, be able to tap into the core of our being and access our power and access true compassion, through true self-compassion, that will allow us to live a very empowered life, allow us to live a life with clarity and to make choices that are aligned. The reason why this is so important is because we all have ideals and goals, and we all have these driving forces, and sometimes it's not so easy to follow through. Meaning, you may have the intention that you want to exercise more, but there's just no way that you're going to be able to get up in the morning. Or maybe you want to give up drinking, but you can't. Like, you have the determination, you want to, but the next party you find yourself, well, there's no parties anymore, but the next situation you find yourself drinking. Or if you want to give up smoking, and so on and so forth. We have a self-sabotaging entity within us that is our woundedness. And so we need to access this with compassion and with love, and bring in the power that comes from our true being, so that we can radiate and bloom from within. Does any of that make sense? Does it resonate that there's a driving force within each and every one of us that wants to accomplish things, that has dreams, and yet there's also this self-sabotaging nature that wants to stay small, or that wants to enlarge something that's really not meant to be enlarged. We oscillate from a superiority complex into an inferiority complex, and we're always battling within our being. And how do we find center? That is the question, with clarity. So I would love to introduce myself as we dive into this workshop, and before we go into the whiteboard and everything. My name is Prema, and it is a true joy to be recording this workshop here. We are right now at Blue Spirit, Costa Rica. Blue Spirit is a retreat center and an oasis for peace within the Nicoya Peninsula, which is a blue zone, place of longevity, of quality of life, and the discovery of what true wellness means, and that comprises that clarity of nature, clarity of integrity, connection with the source of our being. And before I got to Blue Spirit, I lived in an ashram, and I trained. An ashram, if you don't know, is a yogic monastery center, where it depends on the type of ashram. The type of ashram that I studied comprised many different paradigms and religions, primarily yoga philosophy and Buddhism, Advaita Vedanta as the core of everything that was studied. But also we studied psychoanalysis, and we studied different trends of thought in order to deconstruct the mind. And the reason why this was done is because even though we can have an understanding of our true nature, if we can't see with clarity the different veils of our being, it's going to be difficult for us to abide in that space of internal clarity. And it's the same with understanding the veils and not having a large enough perspective in order to be free from that. So we have both. We need both paradigms. We need both understanding the structure and why is this happening and how come I was split and how come I have a split will, but also the will of the self is pure awareness, and to have this large enough framework that frees ourselves from the grip of the ego and the grip of the death drive, which is always trying to end it in some kind of way. And so what we're doing is cultivating life-affirming spaces from a place of love and allowing love to come into our hearts. So this is my mission. This is what I do in all my healing therapies. Although the modalities may work, I also work as a holistic nutritionist, and I work with facilitating healing spaces, and this is one of them. So I am so happy that we are all here together attuning to this transformative knowledge and willing to do the work in order to live with more peace and with more integrity and compassion. So before we move into the whiteboard, I would love to invite you to do a meditation with me. If you have your devices on that are not attuned to this workshop, I would also invite you to turn them off so that your attention can be focused here. And you can find a comfortable seat. That can be on a chair, or if you want to sit on the floor, anywhere that feels comfortable for you to have a straight back so that the chest can be open. And you can leave your hands relaxed, maybe on top of your legs. If you know a mudra, you can do so. Really what we are going to do in this moment of meditation is attune the mind and the heart to receive the grace of the present moment. Before we do any exercises, simply allow yourself to be here, present, sitting down, sensing how you're breathing. And when it's comfortable, you can close your eyes, allowing attention to come inward into your heart. And with each breath, you can sense the softening that happens. The inhalations can go deep and expand in the diaphragm. And the exhalations can be slow, smooth. And allowing yourself to find a balance between the in-breath and the out-breath. If a thought arises in the mind, you can envision it like ice, contracted, rigid. And as you breathe into it, you can imagine it melting, flowing into water. So there's a transmutation of elements being really rigid, softening, melting into water. And as you let it go, it turns into vapor. and you can find more spaciousness. And you can do this exercise of turning ice into water, into vapor, with thoughts that arise in the mind, but also if there's any knots in your body. If you feel there's a place that there's pain or uncomfortability, you can bring your breath into that space and breathe into it. Immediately shifting our foci of attention into the parasympathetic nervous system. Allowing the nervous system to find a space of restoration, recalibration. And allowing the mind to come into a space of equanimity, undisturbed, untouched. And as you continue to meditate, you can notice that the space in between the breaths gets longer. Slower spaces in between the in-breath and the out-breath, and the out-breath and the in-breath. Sensing the spaciousness that opens and expands into awareness. And also sensing that the space in between the breath can also be a space in between each thought, allowing the mind to find more spaciousness. Less worry, less concern, much more presence. And in presence there is a deep trust that opens the heart. Deep trust in the intelligence of spirit. In presence there is a deep trust in the inherent goodness of nature. Allow this trust to pervade your being. Maybe trust allows there to be much more relaxation in the body. Maybe you can sense that there's a smile on your face. The heart opens with much more ease when we can trust, when we don't contract but rather allow ourselves to be open, pervaded with the goodness of spirit. Finding yourself sovereign, free. And even though there may be a chattering mind, always allow your attention to go into that vapor like nature, finding spaciousness, not being tied by any thought but finding your own freedom. And if there's a particular scenario in your mind that is creating stress, worry, concern, allow yourself to feel that. bringing in compassion, bringing in your heart, caring for this situation. And as the heart continues to open, you can tap into those longings that are within your heart, within your being. Giving yourself a space to feel everything that needs to be felt at this moment from a place of equanimity. Feeling safe, held, and supported on your journey as you continue to purify by becoming present to what is. And allowing yourself to have a true experience of freedom within structure. So if there's a particular thought or situation that you feel is constraining, allow yourself to be in it and abide in it and bring presence and bring compassion. And see if it's possible to disidentify, not to forget, not to reject, not to repress, but simply to not be so involved in it. To witness with loving kindness, with care, bringing your compassion. And noting how does it feel like to witness a situation from a disidentified space, and yet to give it all your love and all your affection and all your attention. How does it feel like to have compassion in your heart? And this is one of the ways we can find freedom, through the softening of our rigidity and through our capacity to bring unconditional love and attention to situations that are pressing, that are difficult. Lowering down our weapons, lowering down our defenses, and allowing grace and divine love to fill in the heart. Emptying out of all worry and all concern, because we are taken care of. Feel yourself taken care of. Feel yourself being loved. By your own self, your true nature, the essence of your being. And allow yourself to enjoy this connection with the deeper aspect of yourself. Space that is more still, more quiet, less chattery. And from this frame of reference, we can dive into this module feeling much more centered and peaceful and grounded, so that the clarity that our mind has can pierce through all the different layers, and we can have a much integrated self-understanding. And self-understanding brings forgiveness of self and of other, so that we can live in harmony with each other, but especially internally. From framework of harmonious attention, you can open your eyes. And I will see you very soon with the class. Namaste.